So I had the experience once again of in Mendham and Stickam and yesterday, and it was in Math Fail's room. But it was just like Gary's room. Gary was talking every other time, yelling, screaming, abusing people, making threats, talking every other goddamn time, opening his mic, interrupting people while they're talking, leaving his mic open. Uh, and that's okay. There's exceptionalism for Gary. I mean, that's obviously fucktarded behavior. You're supposed to push to talk and then to go silent, wait your turn, and so on. For everybody else, you want everybody else to be kicked if they don't follow that rule, but no, he doesn't have to. He could be called on it, and he just is going to keep doing it. And he's bitching and moaning because we're debating 2 plus 2 equals 4. Why should we debate that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested. Well, don't be interested. Yeah, a lot of people aren't capable of arguing the issues, the controversies, or seeing the controversies about how mathematical concepts are defined. Fine, they're not interested. They don't want to be able to do that. Fine. But you're saying it's not important? That's nonsense. You know, and Mandem points out that these are basically just tautologies. It's like rain is wet. It's all just, it's all defined so that it turns out true. Of course, we're labeling this experience with this word, and it all is going to work out because we're just labeling and whatnot, and we've set it up to be true. Right, so we've set it up to be true that 2 plus 2 equals 4. It can be set up that 2 plus 2 equals 5, or any number of weird mathematics that are possible to set up. And the question is, why do we prefer just that one? And then, furthermore, there isn't just that one. There's a lot of different systems that could underpin mathematics, that would lead us to that conclusion over another, and there's more than one option. You have set theory, there's constructibility, there's all kinds of different systems in logic. We talk about logic and the logic of if this, then that. That's usually when we say just logic, the kind of logic that has the honor of being assumed to be what you mean is this classical formal logic in Western society, which is first or second order logic, something like this. But there's modal logic, there's probabilistic logic, there's the so-called fuzzy logics. There's different logical systems that are not 100% compatible. And we compare these, and that's how we fucking build these systems of mathematics. That's why we know so much about math. People like to say, well, this is a known thing. Well, that's why we know what we mean by 2 plus 2 equals 4. Because people look into that, and you're not into it. Well, then fine, don't look into it, but you're going to scream and yell about it. Furthermore, here's the most ridiculous thing. He does not see the contradiction in his own argument about how life sucks and everything. He says that non-living matter is entirely irrelevant. But he sees nothing positive in that for living. Stone life, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what's going on with it. And he thinks that being irrelevant is not necessarily a negative. Choosing to be dead matter is not necessarily negative. He says, why did I bring 2 children into the world? Why did I create them? And I didn't create them. All the matter that is in my 2 kids would have been out there in nature somewhere, just as rock, as stone, as mineral. It would have just been out there in the world. I did not bring it into existence. I am responsible for the fact that I created systems that drew those materials into themselves. Right, that turned irrelevant material into relevant material. But he thinks that's not a value. Turning something irrelevant into something relevant. He doesn't see a value in becoming relevant. He wants to go off on these side issues of like, well, it's not always good. Bad things can be relevant. Yeah, I know bad things can be relevant, and so can good things be relevant. And being irrelevant tends to be worse than either one of those things. So, I don't think Inmendham will ever understand that, and I don't think that we have a very healthy system here if no matter where Gary goes, he can just be, a pissy shithead and fucking talk over people and every other time. It's ridiculous, especially when he contradicts himself. You can talk to him, he will respond enough that he'll contradict himself in 3 or 4 sentences and refuse to see. It's call other people names because he has no actual response.